I think this is a good question in general, and I'm going to paraphrase this. So this guy's a trombone player who also plays guitar. And within the context of a funk band, I feel like the most important thing you need to understand is knowing your place in the band.
Exactly.
So like you don't want to be playing really out stuff when you're trying to play for a Motown tune or something like that.
Exactly.
So what would your advice be to people who are guitar players out there, or horn players, doesn't matter, but taking these concepts and knowing when to use them and knowing when not to. I know that's an instinct thing and it's hard to explain, but can you kind of give a little bit of your experience?
My experience has been, really quick. I think the genre, and actually I'll recap on something that I touched on earlier. It all depends on who wrote the music. For me, if I wrote the music, I feel like I have those visions in mind when I write the music. Like I wrote this piece and I want it to be sort of on the edge. I want it to be funky and traditional, but when we go to the B section, I want it to be a little bit on the more jazzy outside section. So the first and foremost thing is to respect the tune and the instrumentalists that are playing with you. You should be aware that if your keyboard player is playing minor, but he's playing minor like more of a natural minor kind of sound, then what you do with your Dorian superimposition might sound like an elbow to his ribs, But ultimately, I would say that try and play as inside as possible, which means I'd say, stick around 1. If you want to step out of that and go to 5 and come back to 1 and maybe go to 2 if it's acceptable, or if you're in a major key, maybe just do 6 and 3, and then come back to 6 because 6 is sort of very
safe.
And then if maybe once in a while if the solos are going out, it is something that you learn over time that you sort of have you have to respect the material and I think artistic license is one thing. Well, hey, I'm an artist, so I want to do this to the tune, but to use the extreme example, if you do that to a country tune, and the artist is looking at you and saying, "I asked you to take a solo, I didn't ask you to go and play some weird thing."
There goes your paycheck.
There goes your paycheck, exactly. And so I think it's a question of listening and respecting the underlying music, first and foremost, and the ensemble that you play with, because especially in the context of R&B and funk, it is it's all about community. It's like we're making this music together, versus, hey, I'm over here, just like a basketball team. You know what I mean? We're making this together, and we need to work together as a team. And this is my job over here. And if my job of doing this, and I take a solo, usually when you take a solo, you have a little bit more license to do some stranger things, but if it steps too far out, then it upsets the balance of the overall thing. So I know that's not a specific answer. I can't give you a mathematical answer on that one, but I would certainly say that just respect the music and use your ears. Ear training.
He's big on that.
Ear training.
Know when to burn and know when to not burn.
Exactly. Yeah.